Welcome to Language in the Healing Environment. My name is Deborah Hedges, and I am the administrator of the Wilson Healthcare Center at Asbury Methodist Village. This is our story of how we changed our language and ultimately changed our environment. Our story begins, as so many stories do, once upon a time. Once upon a time, we had the exciting idea that we could change the environment in which our elders have their experience, that we could create a more person-centered, individualized experience for each elder, that we could improve upon our environment so it would be a better place for elders to live and heal and grow and learn without compromising any of the high-quality clinical care and services we provide. We just had to figure out where to start. For us, we decided that our starting point would be with our words. Yes, we decided to start with what we were saying and how we were saying it. Because after all, words are our most inexhaustible source of magic. And we knew we could harness that magic and use it as a way to effect positive change. So what did we do? Well, we had to have open, honest conversations with the associates who work at the Wilson Healthcare Center and the elders who live there. We asked ourselves a lot of questions. What types of words are we using? What are the impact of those words? Do they create a positive environment? Do they unintentionally create negativity? Are we creating labels with the words that we use? Are we conveying the compassion and empathy that we have in our hearts? How are the elders receiving the words that we're using? How are they receiving our conversations? It was a lot of discussion. And really, at the end of it all, what we determined is that most of the words that we're using were very positive, and that we were doing a good job communicating our empathy and compassion that we have in our hearts. But that we had some work to do, and some of the words that we were using were very clinical and unintentionally creating effects that we did not want. Let me explain it a different way. The power of our language is really in the power of our words. Every time we speak, every word we use creates an energy. And that energy creates the environment in which the associates and the elders have their experience, and ultimately cultivates the relationships that they have. So language is energy, and the energy creates the environment, which creates the experience and creates the relationships. Pretty powerful stuff. We thought so. And so we decided to start with our language as a starting point in our journey. We looked at all of the words that we were using and came up with a list of those that we no longer wanted to use anymore. We picked words, and by we I mean the associates and the elders, that we just did not want to see in our environment anymore, and replaced them with words that created a different kind of energy, the kind of energy that we wanted in our environment, the kind of energy that created the experience that we wanted our elders and associates to have. So I'd like to pause here for a minute and ask you, what do you think? What do you think about all of this? Language and energy, creating the environment and the experience and the relationships. Do you think it's true? Do you think there's too much emphasis put on it? Well, I hope that you can see the power of language thus far. But in case you can't, I'd like to introduce you to somebody. And this is Mrs. Jones. And she is somebody that you care about. She could be your grandmother, she could be your aunt, your next door neighbor, your family friend. Whomever she is somebody who is going to help me further illustrate the power of language. So for this next part, I'd like you to close your eyes. I know, I hear you, it's a little hokey, but I want you to do it, and I'm doing it intentionally. Because what I want you to do is close your eyes and focus on the words I'm about to say. I want you to focus on how they make you feel. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. I'm about to describe your loved one. 202 came in last night. She's a total knee replacement and patient as of midnight. She's total care. She's a feeder. She's also completely incontinent, so she's going to need diapers. Make sure she's on a changing schedule. She's also really needy, so she's on the light all the time. So make sure to keep a close eye on her. All right. Open your eyes. How did it feel when I used those words to describe somebody you care about? Well, to me, it felt like I was creating a wall. The words that I used created a wall that's up on your screen now. And intentionally or unintentionally, taking away the individuality of Mrs. Jones, of your loved one. Now I'd like you to pay attention to this wall. And I'm going to let you leave your eyes open for this one. I'd also like you to pay attention to how this next set of words make you feel, as I describe Mrs. Jones, your loved one, using different words. Good morning. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Mrs. Jones. She joined us last night from the hospital. She's here healing with us. She was in the hospital for a week after having a total knee replacement. And she's pretty fatigued, pretty tired. She's got a great spirit, but we may need to help her with a few extra things while she's here with us. She's hoping to get home within the next couple of weeks. She's got a dancing date. Mrs. Jones is a dance enthusiast and can't wait to get back up on her feet. She's 86 years old, and she'll be staying with us in room 202. How did that feel? How did it feel when I described Mrs. Jones using different words? Essentially, I said the same thing. But one set of words has one feeling, or set of energy, and the other set of words has a different feeling. What if changing our language really is the catalyst to changing the environment? What if that is truly the case? What would your next step be? Well, I can tell you what one of our next steps was. After doing the work, after talking with our associates and the elders, focusing on language, pulling apart what words we wanted to use and what words we didn't, our next step was to deeply embed this feeling into our culture. And for us, we used Plaintree, more specifically, a partnership with Plaintree, to help us embed that culture. Plaintree isn't a thing. It is not a customer service model. It is not a to-do list or a task list. But what Plaintree does is help give associates and elders tools and resources to embed a culture of person-centered experience. And that's what we did. And that's what we continue to do. Because it's a journey. I can promise you today that when you walk into the Wilson Healthcare Center, there is a spirit and an energy of caring and compassion. I can promise you that we continuously work on the language that we use and have an acute understanding of the energy that our language gives and the impact that has on the environment and the experience that our elders have in that environment. And so we are keenly attuned to what we say and how we say it. I can promise you that when you walk into our newly renovated transitional care unit neighborhood, you will see spaces like this, which are aesthetically beautiful. There are also places where you will see associates and elders and visitors together in the same space, because we don't have nurses stations anymore. We have spaces where people can be together, and you will hear conversations between associates with one another, with elders, with visitors. I show you these photos for two reasons. One, because when we were creating the transitional care unit neighborhood, we were creating a space that was intentionally a healing environment. and we paid close attention to what that would look like. Because of the work that we had done with focusing on our language, and because of the work we had done with Plane Tree, we spent as much, if not more time, focusing on what it would feel like in this neighborhood. And we're very proud of it. We are very proud of the healing environment that we have in the Wilson Healthcare Center. So proud of it, and so ingrained it is in our Code of Ethics and Business Conduct. In our Code of Ethics and Business Conduct, you will see information, guidance for our associates about the importance of language and the impact that it has on the environment. We continue our journey every single day, being mindful of the language that we use, keeping an intention on creating and maintaining and cultivating a healing environment. And I'd like to invite you to do the same. I invite you to have conversations with the associates you work with and the elders that you serve about the language that is used in your environment. And I invite you to really take an honest look at the words you're using and the environment that they're creating. I invite you to delve deep into the power of language and the impact it has on the environment. And I promise you that when you do, it's time well spent. Because every time we talk, every word we use creates energy, and that energy creates the environment in which our elders and associates have their experience, and ultimately creates the relationships that they have. Need help doing it? Leading Age is here for you. There are endless resources on the Leading Age website, and I'm here for you too, as is everybody at the Wilson Healthcare Center in Asbury Methodist Village. Do you have any questions? Questions about language? Questions about Plane Tree? Questions about healing environments? Questions about anything you heard on this quick cast? Don't hesitate to send me an email. I thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to talking with you soon.